What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. In this episode, I will be going over all the week 2 games, and I will be making game picks for each game. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. And that's pretty much it. Let me roll the intro, and let's get into game picks. So first up, before I start, as you can tell, my mic is right here instead of right here. So if the audio is a little bit different, I do apologize. It should be okay because my mic is picking up, so it should be okay. But if it isn't, I apologize. I'm going to try and work it out for the next time. I just thought this was the easiest solution to do this video and to get it out for you guys to watch. So also, quick note. I'm not going to be going over the Thursday night games in these prediction videos. I'm going to save that for the recap videos. I went over the Thursday night games on my live streams last year on Sunday when I made the game picks, but I'm not going to be doing that in these videos. Just wait until the recap and I'll go over the Thursday night games. And I'm pretty sure like what the media has to say is almost what I have to say, especially about Tua. And yeah, so let's just get right. But let's get into game picks. So let's start with Sunday at 1. We had the Niners and the Vikings in Minnesota. Both teams are 1-0. If I can just even that out really quick. Bingo. Both teams are 1-0. Both teams played very well against two New York teams. One obviously better than the other. The Jets significantly better than the Giants. The Niners played the Jets in San Francisco on Monday night, and the Giants played the Vikings in MetLife on Sunday afternoon. So two teams that are 1-0, two teams that played two New York teams, and they're looking to go to 2-0. And both teams are without star offensive players. Vikings are without Jordan Addison. The Niners are without Christian McCaffrey this week. But I don't think it's going to be a concern for really either team because the Vikings still have Aaron Jones, they have Jefferson. I really like Brandon Powell in Minnesota. Like they have pieces to back. Jalen Naylor caught a touchdown, and then obviously the Niners, Jordan Mason, reigning dog of the week. Obviously they have the star power to back up those losses. So where is this matchup going to? Where are the roots for this matchup? And it's that Vikings offense versus the Niners defense. Look, we know what the Niners offense can do. We know what the Vikings defense can do. It's heavy blitz versus play action. And that usually, that's 50-50. Are they going to get home or is Brock Purdy going to evade the blitz? So we kind of know what's going to happen there. But on the other side of the ball, that's what we don't know. Can the Niners defense really stop Sam Darnold? Is Sam Darnold still on? Is he on this kind of Cinderella run like Geno Smith was on? Or is that like a 1 week thing against a really crappy team week 1? That's what I don't really know, and that's what I'm very intrigued to figure out. With that being said, I do think the Niners come out with a victory here, but I do think it's going to be a hard-fought victory. I do think that the Vikings are a very solid team. They're much better. And look, I had them 8-9. I don't know why anyone had them like 4-13. They're a much better team than that. So I do think the Niners come out with the win here, but I do expect a very competitive game from Sam Darnold against his former team. Next game up, we have the Seahawks and the Patriots, two teams that are 1-0. Obviously, the Seahawks beat the Broncos, and the New England Patriots upset the Bengals this past week. So it's definitely an interesting matchup here in New England, and it starts with both offenses. Can Geno Smith and Jacoby Brissett, can they get it going? And simple answer, I think Jacoby Brissett is going to have a better game than Geno Smith, and that's what it's going to come down to. I like the Patriots to win this game. So, look, is this an upset? Or is this an even-fought game where the Patriots are simply the better team? Are the Patriots on a Cinderella run of their own? That's what I'm very interested to see this Sunday in Foxborough. Can the Patriots continue this high level of play that they did with Jacoby Brissett week 1 in Cincy? And I think they can. I think Stevenson's going to have another good running game on the ground like he did against the Bengals. And I think that's what's going to really come down to, since the Seahawks aren't really built to defend the run. They're more built to defend the pass, obviously with Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. But the Patriots don't really have any weapons there, but they have Ramondre Stevenson, and he's going to pound the rock like he always does. And that Patriots offensive line is better than the Seahawks defensive line, and that's where this matchup starts in the trenches, and the Patriots have that covered. So I do think the New England Patriots come out 2-0 in this game. Again, is it an upset? That's what I don't really know. I don't think it is. I think this Patriots team is onto something. I was definitely wrong about them, or maybe I was. We'll see after this week. Giants and Commanders, an NFC East rivalry, two teams that are 0-1. The Giants were horrible. Literally, I mean, I think the Panthers were the only team that was worse than them. Giants scored the least amount of points in week 1. They only scored 6. Very high scoring. And they got outscored 28-6 against Minnesota. And Washington, they played a respectable game. I'll give them the credit there. It wasn't like they were terrible. I will give them credit. Jaden Daniels was pretty solid. I think he needs a little bit more. It needs to take a little bit more willingness to take shots downfield. Missed the game right here to do it. I know historically Daniel Jones has dominated against Washington, but I don't think that's going to happen because Daniel Jones is, such I hate to say it, not very good. I was going to give him this year to kind of prove it again, but it only took me 1 week, and I'm like, yeah, he's not the guy. And I hate saying that because I do like him, but I mean, yeah. With that being said, I like Washington to win this one. That'll bring Washington to 1-1. That'll bring New York to 0-2 again, unfortunately. But that's the tough part being the Giants fan. You know you're going to get a top 3 pick every year because your team sucks, and that's just the matter. That's just the way it is. Chargers and Panthers. So obviously, we're always going to have a couple of ones that we can go through pretty quickly, and this is one of those games. The Chargers are better than the Panthers. They outmatch them in every way. Better quarterback, better offensive line, better skill position players, better defense, better special teams. I mean, better coaching. Done. Chargers win this game very easily. I'm hoping the Chargers defense plays well. Have them in fantasy. Now, that doesn't impact my vote, but I do hope that they play well. I don't see why they wouldn't because Bryce Young, who is getting a lot of unnecessary hate. Let's talk about this for a second. Bryce Young has no help. His offensive line sucks. He's had 3 head coaches in 2 years. He's learning a new offensive system. His skill positions players are not great. He's getting a lot of unnecessary hate, and he shouldn't be getting as much hate. Now, look, I'm just saying if CJ Stroud was in that position, he would be playing the same way. And Bryce Young would be playing maybe not the same level as CJ Stroud in Houston, but he would be playing at a very similar level. So enough with the hate. Let's be real here. Bryce Young doesn't have a lot around him, okay? So let's stop with the hate and let's stop acting like Bryce Young isn't good, okay? I mean, maybe he isn't, but let's give him some time, please. Anyways, Chargers win this one very, very, very easily. Saints at Cowboys is another quick one. Look, I said the Saints are 2-15. I still think on paper they're 2-15. The Panthers stink, okay? They're not good. The Saints are, again, this is another situation. They're outmanned by the Dallas. I mean, the New Orleans Saints are not going into Dallas, into Jerry World, and beating the Cowboys. They're not doing it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. Cowboys win this one pretty easily. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I was pretty surprised by how Dallas played at Cleveland. I thought the Cleveland was going to come out with that victory, and they didn't. Dallas had a very good game plan. They outmanned Cleveland in every aspect of the game, including special teams at the punt return touchdown with Turpin. I think that dominance of the Dallas Cowboys in the regular season continues. They have another easy game this week against New Orleans. I do think the Cowboys come out on top in what should be a pretty, with all due respect, a pretty easy game for Dallas and a pretty rough one for the New Orleans Saints. Colts at Packers. Now, this would have been this would have probably been the game of the week if Jordan Love didn't get hurt. But he is hurt. So it's Anthony Richardson versus Malik Willis. So I'm not going to doubt Malik Willis. Okay. I'll be honest. He was not my highest rated quarterback in that draft class. He was my second highest rated quarterback. It was more of like a 1A, 1B. That quarterback class was horrifically bad. I'll be honest. I thought Matt Corral was the best quarterback in that draft class. I still think he is. I really like Matt Corral. I still think he has a ton of potential. He just hasn't been put in the right situation. Malik Willis has same thing. He hasn't really been given an opportunity. This is his time to shine. Look, this Colts team is good. They should not be disrespected. I mean, this is a very solid Colts team. I have them making the playoffs. The Packers Now Jordan Love out for 3 to 6 weeks. It's gonna be a rough stretch for them with Malik Willis, but Willis has an opportunity to make it a not a rough stretch. Now remember, this is just a comparison. Here's the thing. Remember a couple years ago, the Saints, Drew Brees went down and Teddy Bridgewater, I believe, right? Teddy Bridgewater came in and he went 5-0 with them. 5-0, Teddy Bridgewater did with the Saints. Can Malik Willis do the same thing? I don't know, but I do think that these games are going to be pretty close, and it's not going to be Colts win by 30 because Malik Willis is terrible. That's not the way it is. They're gonna run the ball with Jacobs. They're gonna set up short screen plays for like Wicks and Reed. They're not gonna play the traditional Packers offense, but this game's more even. Even though, with that being said, I do think the Colts are gonna win this one. But it's not because of Malik Willis. He's not going to go like 9 of 39 for like 30 yards and 5 picks. Like that's not the way it's going to be. He's gonna play just fine. Just I don't think he's going to play at a high enough level um, to overcome this Colts team. Browns at Jags is another interesting game. This is happening at Trevor Banks Stadium. This is one of the more interesting headlines of the week. So for 1 week, they're renaming so in Jacksonville and Duval, it's Everbank Stadium, but for this week they're calling it Trevor Banks Stadium. I'm sorry if he won a playoff game and he's like been to the Super Bowl with a terrible team. Fine, he hasn't done that yet. I think it's a little corny. I do think it's a very cool idea. I'll be honest. Just like why? Like why are you doing that? Like why are you naming the stadium after your quarterback? Like that's a little weird. I don't understand that, but I do think that's interesting to say the least. I do like the Jaguars to come out on top in this game. I think Watson's not the guy. I mean, the Browns need to make a tough decision. Take the contract out of it. Deshaun Watson is not the guy. Ever since he got traded, he's not been the guy. He's just not the guy in Cleveland. He's not. Let's be real here. This is a team that would make the playoffs with Jameis Winston. I genuinely believe that. So we might see some Winston on Sunday. We might not. Let's see what happens before we kind of make that like you know what I'm saying. Make that like belief thing. But look, the Browns aren't good with Deshaun Watson. This is a team that needs to make a quarterback change, in my opinion. They're going to realize that in this game. I like Jacksonville overall to beat the Browns in Trevor Banks Stadium. That's such a I don't know how to feel about that. What do you guys feel about that? Like the whole Trevor Bank thing. Like I think it's a very like when I first saw it, I thought it was a cool idea, but then I thought about it, I was like, this is like a really cool idea. I thought about it, I was like, it's an interesting idea. Like, why are you giving Trevor Lawrence whatever? Jets and Titans, again, another quick one. The Jets are just better than Titans. The Titans lost to the Bears and they gave up no offensive points. None. It was all defense and special teams. That's like embarrassing. And there's no better way for me to say it. That Will Levis pick where he was like, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, that's meme of the week right there. Oh my gosh! I mean, I thought the Titans were gonna play better than that. They're just. I mean, and look, I said Will Levis was gonna be a bust. I mean, when people said that he was gonna go number 4 in that draft, I was like, no, he's not. He's a bust. Get out of here. And he followed the first round, and now we're seeing why. I mean, look, he went to a basketball school. I mean, is that all you need to say? And on the Jets side of things, for what I watched of Monday night, they didn't look bad. I mean, the defense was a little concerningly bad, but again, it's the Niners. Like you're gonna get torn up. And Rodgers looked confident. I mean, I'll be honest, confident's not the right word. He looked precise, but he did not look confident at all. I take that back. He did not look confident at all, but he was precise as he always is. I think this is a get-right game for the Jets. Get right back on track with Aaron Rodgers. I do think the Jets are going to take this one. They'll be 1-1 at the end of this. The Titans are going to fall to 0-2. I mean, this Titans team, they really need to rethink it. They're not they're not a quarterback away. They're not, and that's just the hard truth. Bucks at Lions. This is your game of the week right here. This is easily your game of the week right here. This is a rematch of the NFC divisional round, which came basically down to the last drive, and I believe Baker Mayfield got picked by a linebacker or a defensive tackle at the end of the game. I don't know what happened. I think he floated it and he just got picked, and it wasn't a good throw. It wasn't his fault, though. I think he was trying to do something else. Look, Tampa was phenomenal. Baker Mayfield, a definitely dog of the week candidate here for the Talkin' Football podcast. The Lions, look, the Lions are the Lions. It was an overtime win against the Rams and a very entertaining Sunday night football game. I do think that the Lions come out on top here, but this is like a 31-29 kind of game. It's not going to be like a 45-20 win for the Lions. This is a very close game, and I think it's going to come down to the last second like it usually does with the Lions, and it's going to be a one-score game. I do like the Lions to take this one, though, as it is in Detroit, and they are loud, but it's going to be a very, very close game here, and it's going to be the game of the week, in my opinion, for Talking Football. Now, how can the Bucs come out with a win here? It's very simple. Shut the run game down. They need to stop Gibbs and Montgomery. If they force Goff to throw more than he's used to, that's when you kind of get him into trouble. When Goff throws no more than like 25 times a game, that's when he plays at his peak. When Goff throws no more than 25 times a game, wow, that's a very good NFL quarterback. When he gets a little bit over that, like that 25 to 30 range, it's like, okay, he made some bad throws, but he's still can find anything over 30, in my opinion. He gets a little antsy, and that's why they run the ball so much, and they run it well. Tampa needs to shut the run game down, and if they don't, they're in for a high-scoring game. I do think that Baker can answer, but I do like the Lions to win this one in Detroit. Raiders at Ravens. The Raiders played the Chargers. The Ravens played the Chiefs. Both teams are 0-1. This is Baltimore's home opener. The Raiders played not very good. They weren't good at all, actually. They put 10 points. They put up 10 points on the board. Very, very good. High scoring. And that's kind of what I expected. I don't know if I'm ready to say they're quarterback away because I don't think they're at that point yet, but they're close. This is a team, and the Raiders cannot make the mistake of firing Antonio Pierce if he has a bad season. They just cannot do that. I do think that this is a team that's really going to need to get that quarterback. This is definitely a team that's going to trade up in the draft for Jalen Milroe. In my opinion, is the perfect fit for Vegas. But that's in April. We're in September now. This is a loss for the Raiders. I think the Ravens, this is an easy win for them. There's going to be no question about it. There's going to be no, could the Raiders upset? No. The Raiders cannot upset this team. The Ravens have a better quarterback, better offensive line. Wide receivers, you can argue, but I do think that and that's a little 50-50 there. Tight end's another 50-50 if they use Brock Bowers in the right way, and if they use Michael Mayer the right way too. Michael Mayer gets underused, man. I like Michael Mayer a lot. He was very good for Notre Dame. I don't know why they don't use him as much. The Ravens have a better offensive rushing attack. The Ravens have a better defense. And if Ronnie Stanley can put up what Joe Alt did against Max Crosby, then the Ravens are going to have an easy time in Baltimore beating the Las Vegas Raiders. Rams and Cardinals. So, two teams that played in one-score games. Obviously, we just talked about the Rams, how they lost to the – who did they lose to? That's the question. Who did they lose to? They lost to the Lions week 1 against – there's Lions week 1 again, in Sunday Night Football. I just repeated that 5 times. It's my bad. And the Cardinals were up 17-3 against the Bills, and they lost. This is a very close game. I don't know who to necessarily pick in this one. Actually, I do know who to pick in this one. The Rams are going to win this one. But, again, this is another one of those close games. It's 24-16 maybe, one of those, a one-score game that felt closer than it was. The Cardinals are, again, like I said, this is one of those not a pushover teams. They're gonna be a tough matchup for the Rams. The Rams are without Puka Nacua. It's gonna be all Cooper Kupp. If the Rams, if the Cardinals found a way to really contain Cooper Kupp and they forced Stafford to go to other guys like Atwell, like Robinson, and they forced the run game to start, then we can have a conversation about maybe Arizona coming out on top in this game. But until they find a solution to Cooper Kupp, this is an easy, not an easy win. This is a win at least for the Rams. Cardinals are a feisty team though. The Rams cannot hold up on Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals they went out to a fast start and they lost the lead late. So I don't dislike Jonathan Gannon. I still think he needs some time as a head coach. But this is another time where the Cardinals had a lead, a relatively significant lead, and they blew it. It's happened time and time again where they have a substantial lead. They had a 14-point lead and they lost it. This has happened it's happened a lot of times. I don't know what it is because I'm not watching Cardinal games, but I know all I know is I'm score monitoring, and I just see it's 17-3. Then it was 24-17 out of the blue when the Bills were on top. I was like, what happened here? That's something that Cardinals got to figure out if they want to be a successful football team. If Jonathan Gannon wants to really start to rack up wins as a head coach, until they fix that, though, I do think the Rams come out on top in this battle here. Here's what some people think is the game of the week. It's not the game of the week, in my opinion. It is a good game, though. Bengals at Chiefs. It's the same old rivalry. Joe Burrow going into Burrowhead against Kansas City. Now, this Bengals team is probably the worst Bengals team since his rookie year that Joe Burrow has played on. It's not a bad team. It's just not the best one, in my opinion. Look, Jamar Chase was very quiet week one. They need to get him involved. Zach Moss was solid, but they need to get him. They need to get the running game going a little bit more. Joe Burrow looked okay week one. Is he a mediocre quarterback without star skill positions? Maybe. That might be the case. T. Higgins, I'm not sure if he's playing. I think he's questionable right now. If he plays or doesn't, it's not really going to make a difference in my opinion. I do think the Chiefs come out in this one, but look, since he is experienced, they know how to win these kind of big games against AFC rivals. It's a rivalry that's gone on for the last couple of years. The Bengals know it's a big game. So if the Bengals come out on top, I would not necessarily be surprised. But I do think the Chiefs win this one, maybe like a 27-23 kind of game here in Arrowhead, where the Chiefs come out on top and become 2-0, and the Bengals become 0-2. Look, the Bengals, since Joe Burrow got drafted, he's like 1-9-1 in weeks 1 and 2. Weeks 1 and 2 are not his time. I don't know if it's because he doesn't play in the preseason, he's still warming up or whatever it is. I don't know if it's still the wrist. You saw the water bottle video go viral, which I'm not buying into. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But look, the Bengals are not good in weeks 1 and 2. It takes them a while to get going, and I think that's going to happen once again here with the Bengals as they lose and fall to 0-2 for they fall to 0-2 again. When I was making these like this right here, the little bars at the bottom, I thought about this one for a little bit. I was like, Steelers, this is a very solid game. Two relatively defensive-minded teams and two offenses with new quarterbacks. Look, Fields was very sound on Sunday against the Falcons. Can he continue this against Denver and against a very good defense? That's what I don't know. Bo Nix, same thing. Can he continue to play well? That's what it's going to come down to is quarterback play. Whoever quarterback plays better, that's who's going to win this game. Because look, these are two of the best defenses in all the NFL. I would definitely say two top 10 defenses right here. Pittsburgh Pittsburgh's probably top 5, and Denver's at least top 8 in my opinion. So two very good defenses here. So whoever quarterback plays better, whether it's Fields or whether it's Bo Nix, that's who's going to come out on top. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Bo Nix, but I do think Justin Fields is going to play very well. This is going to be like a low-scoring game, maybe like a 21-18, maybe like a 20-17 kind of game here for the Broncos. But I do think the Broncos come out on top, so then that would lead to both teams being 1-1 on the season. Next, we have Sunday Night Football. It's the Bears at the Texans. I don't want to hear anything about the Bears winning this game. This is a Texans easy win. And I know I'm going out firing with that, but let's be real here. How can we say that the Bears are going to win? Caleb Williams threw for 94 yards against the Tennessee Titans. Come on now. You think that's going to be the Texans? No. Texans are going to dominate this game. Better quarterback. They've better receivers. They do. They have a better running attack. The defense is better. D'Amico Ryans is significantly better than Matt Eberflus. I don't want to hear anything about it. Special teams is going to be very important in this game because I do think they're evenly matched there. But look, come on now. This is a Texans double-digit win here. This is like a 33 to 23, 33-20, 37 to 23, one of those kind of games. The Texans are going to come out firing. This is a game that the Texans, in my opinion, easily win. There's really no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Houston comes out in their home opener and they win that one. Next up is Monday Night Football. It's the Falcons at the Eagles. Atlanta severely underperformed. They played a lot worse than I thought they would against Pittsburgh. But again, it's Kirk Cousins' first game with the Falcons, and it felt like it was a road game for them because there's so many terrible towels there. And it's his first game back from an Achilles. So that's like too bad. Like that. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on him being not the guy. And when you put Michael Penix in, no, come on now, be real. Give Cousins some more time. You give him a 4-year deal for a reason. This is an obvious. I do think the Eagles come out on top, but the Eagles defense, they were. I don't know if Swiss cheese is the right word. I don't think that's how I really want to describe them, but they weren't as good as I thought they would be. Look, the Packers don't have a lot of big name receivers. Christian Watson could have been a big name, but he's not. He's just one of like those depth guys. Jaden Reed, again, is he developing into a star? I think he kind of is, but like Jaden Reed's your number one. I mean, like he would be like I'm not saying anything against Jaden Reed. I think he's a great receiver. I'm just saying they don't have anyone that really stands out like Dontavian Wicks. It doesn't really stand out. Romeo Doubs doesn't really stand out, but they sliced apart the Eagles in the air. So I do think that this is a good game for Atlanta to kind of get their wheels turning a little bit because they played a very, very tough defense. Eagles defense not so tough in my opinion, but then the thing is the Eagles are playing Lincoln Financial instead of Brazil, so the home field advantage is going to be there for Philly on Monday night. I do think the Eagles come out with this win, and I'm curious to see how Atlanta plays. I don't know what Kirk Cousins we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to get Monday Night Football primetime Dookie Kirk Cousins or if we're going to get Sunday at 1 Kirk Cousins, and that's kind of the thing there. That's how we're gonna and that's basically it. That's how we're gonna wrap up game picks there. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna end this. We're gonna have the recap video coming out probably on Tuesday if I had to guess, and that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Talking Football, and that's what I got to say about that.